You're
Hello.
aware that this could be like an hour long or more episode.
Or it could be 20 minutes. So buckle up. We'll see where it goes. My name's Ryan. I'm a co founder of Lumisol.
And my name's Al, also a co-founder of Lumisol.
And we're doing our first town hall today. I'm so excited. What made you want to do a town hall, Alistair?
Well, I think we've done an absolute shed load of things behind the scenes, and I'm on a journey personally of using my voice and putting my knowledge out into the world. And so it's all been happening behind the scenes, and I think today we're starting to bring it more to the forefront, not just in our own businesses, but in our business portfolio.
Yeah, it's definitely a turning point. And did you say a shed load? I've never heard that expression in my life. I love it. It's cool.
Maybe it's a British saying.
Yeah, it's usually a shit load in Canada. I'll bleep it out later if we need to.
You have sheds in Canada?
Great. So, we're going to talk about our origin, we're going to talk about where we're headed, and we're going to talk about things all in between of like what we've done over the last few years behind the scenes and some issues that came up and also some successes that we've had as well.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Alistair and I created Lumisol and we were over the phone. I think I was like really sick. And so I was just, when you get really sick sometimes and you just get all of these like creative ideas because you've slowed down enough and like eliminated distractions enough that you get all this creativity. And we kicked off so quickly with our first retreat. And then a lot of it was based in BC, Vancouver, and in person.
Yeah, so we used to have events ranging from find your purpose to cold plunging to astrology to mediumship to relationship building.
Art, paint night,
Yeah.
but bringing
And
conscious
so,
connection element to all of that.
yeah, and our focus was very much on conscious connection and I guess building more consciousness.
Right. And we had this like epiphany a few years later, like a few months or years later, where we're like, you know what? We don't need to share or like focus on conscious connection. It can be a byproduct of all of our events. It can be the culture, it could be the ethos and the ecosystem within Lumisol, but it doesn't need to be screaming, come here, we consciously connect. Like,
Yeah, and it doesn't really describe the totality of Lumisol. Like Lumisol is aimed at helping people on their journey of life, basically their growth journey, and providing guidance and help and community on that whole journey, no matter where you're at and no matter where your viewpoints are at. We don't prescribe things, we're just guiding people. And so we bring together a lot of different leaders and individuals with unique perspectives. And that's what we want to do, and that's our mission. We have a vision of having connected communities across the world and helping people globally. And so the first instance of Lumisol was very much focused on Vancouver, and Vancouver was like an accelerator for us to get more of an understanding of what we wanted to create and actually start the alpha version, I guess, of Lumisol.
and also understanding what people wanted and what resonated with people. That was like a huge part of the learning experience too.
Yeah, and witnessing how Vancouver is very spiritual in a lot of ways, and there's this spiritual movement, and seeing how we were on the edge spiritually, and actually, no, Lumisol is a movement that helps people no matter where they're at, and so we have to be able to appeal to those that are more spiritual and those that are more earthly, and bring those people together so we can share our experiences and ultimately just progress on our journey and grow.
Yeah, I love that. And because we use the term earthly a lot in conversation, I feel like you should just share a little bit about what that means to you.
Well, yeah, in simple terms, it's more on the physical. So it's witnessing what's happening day to day in the environment and society that we live in, and not really questioning or not really believing or being open to believe that there's other things out there, or like we're here for a greater reason, for example. And so you might be so tied up in your day-to-day job, looking after your family, just trying to go through life, that you don't really have the time or space to even maybe sit with yourself and question why you're here, or what's the greater meaning, and what else could exist. And so I see those that are more earthly, and it's not necessarily a person that's more earthly. You go in phases, right? Like if you're focused on writing some code that's very earthly, like tangible in the product, whereas maybe then you've written some code and later on in the day you go meditate and just sit with yourself, and maybe you get visions. That's probably more spiritual, or just seeing the unseen. And so there's those things that we've all got to balance day to day, and we either choose to acknowledge both of them, or we switch one off or the other off.
Right.
Yeah.
Urban, how can we make both of these coexist? And that is a huge theme within our day-to-day life, within our businesses, within each brand. You'll see that we are constantly trying to create this balance of being earthed and the opposite of earth being etherical. Like some may say, like head in the clouds. You're manifesting so much money that you forget to pay the bills. Like that imbalance. And is where we're trying to find balance, and with the structure and the flow.
You'll find it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that whole happened, how long ago was it now? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, probably 2 years
Where
ago.
when we started, like 2.5.
We started
And
Lumisol in
so,
2022.
and we were both very much early in our own individual entrepreneur journeys and stepping into our own brands whilst building Lumi. So we progressed in building community and our own individual brands. A big tipping point that happened was we realized that pushing events and trying to get people to fill events in Vancouver wasn't working for us. So we made a conscious choice to say, this is not sustainable, this can't support our lifestyle, this can't pay the bills. We're going to focus on our own businesses for a while to make sure we can build a community from a place of abundance rather than lack.
And a strong foundation, for sure.
Yeah.
But we did have success. We did have success within business, within the events. Like we would have 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 people coming to the events. But it did get to a point where it was like something's not working anymore. I think we ran our course here. Beyond running. We went far beyond running our course. We kept doing more and more, and it's like, no, it's not sticking right now. So let's
and
move.
the amount of time and effort we were spending, and the reward, it just wasn't there. Like we weren't helping the amount of people we wanted and things like that. And so we took a step back, focused on our businesses, and we were separate. I did have separate businesses at that point, and I had a download while I was running in Pacific Spirit Forest. I think Rai was away at the time, and I basically said we need to build 7 businesses, and Rai's immediate response was, we can't even run our own businesses right now, how the hell? And I was saying, let's do a business a day, for example, to build them.
Every entrepreneur, mentor, coach tells you to focus on one thing. We have to focus on one thing. And it's such a tradition. Okay, with traditional businesses that are taking up your whole day physically, you have to be there. Running 7 of those doesn't make sense. If you are trying to be like a mom and pop shop, having 7 of those, you can't spread yourself that thin.
And I feel like since that point, we've been on this whole journey of actually bringing that into reality and focused on building those businesses. Like, what are they? How do they interlink? So they're not just siloed businesses. They're like, they support each other. Merging us together and been like, okay, these businesses are all part of Lumisol. They're not separate. We own the Lumisol 50/50, and we've only just in the past few months solidified that, registered everything under Lumisol Ventures.
Woo!
So clearly, we've actually been on a. I'd say the main thing we've learned over the last few years is how we can work together and trust each other and to have everything all in one place. And looking back, I'm like, wow, that shouldn't have taken that long, but I understand why it did. And the growth we went on to actually build that trust and enable all that. And so if you think about the tree of life or a tree, you have roots, you have the trunk, you have the branches. So we've been building the roots of Lumisol, which are these individual businesses that all feed a community that we're now building. So people who work with us in our businesses move through to the community or are part of that community. And likewise, people who are part of the community can work with whichever business they need to, whichever brand. Since January this year, we've spent all our time basically getting used to putting out things in different brands, working together. I mean, you can go into more detail on things like harmonic flight, right? And building the back end structure so we have a scalable structure that's automated, has AI, and that we know how to use. We can work in 7 different brands at once.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk a bit now.
Well, the one point that I did remember is exactly what you said about that idea that came to you when you were running. You know, running is a very physical, earthly thing to do. Let's go for a run. But then you get a download and you get this message and you take it seriously. You trust it. You're not just like whatever thought like could come after that. Some people would probably be like, what are you talking about? Like, we're not doing that. That's crazy. But you brought it to the table. You brought it knowing that I would probably not be on board right away. And so that I feel like is a really good combination of that balance that we were referring to, of like that earthly and spiritual cohabitating and being brought together into flourishing and manifesting itself into our day-to-day life. Yeah, I love the way that you share the visualization of all the businesses, like having that rooted of life, and we really do just want to help everybody on their journey. We really want to help people on their journey, no matter what stage that is. And there's so many similarities in the journeys that I've heard and seen over the years and our own, but they're also very uniquely different. Some people want to do this independently. Some people want to do this in community. Sometimes you want to dabble in both. And so we're creating and cultivating a hub and a space where you can do both. That depending on which season of life you are in. And also, you know, for us both, it started with wellness. It started with focusing on our wellness, and then that opened our mind to like, what else can I change? Now that I feel amazing or feel better and I see life through a more positive lens and see that I have more belief and self-worth that I can change my reality, what do I want to create? And so throughout that journey of changing things and not just letting life happen to you, it does end up in entrepreneurship or wanting to do things your own way and being able to provide and be of service to others. And so there are brands within Lumisol now that help you on that independent journey, but also help you within community, also help you lead and flourish in entrepreneurship. Do you have to dabble in all of them? Absolutely not. But we do see this being a place where you don't have to just hop from community to community. It's a home that you can grow within, and we're going to continue to evolve as our community continues to evolve.
Do you want to talk about the community that we're building?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to start with the reason why it's taken us so long. I don't think that it is taking us so long. I think we're trying to do it in an effective way, but is because we're rewriting what business looks like, what community looks like, and how we work and how we help others. We're utilizing the universal cycles, like the moon cycles, the planets, the seasons as well, so that on a microcosm and macrocosm, we are helping
Align.
We are aligned. We're aligned so that we're not working against the energies, but we're working with them. We're not trying to force anything, but it's just makes sense in terms of, yeah, on a smaller scale and on a bigger scale. So with that being
Yeah,
said,
the way we're doing business, like the traditional way of doing business wouldn't work for 7 different brands, right? But because we're playing with the cycles and we're acknowledging where we're at, it's allowing it to happen.
yeah. And with that being said, so we have like we look at the energy centers as a guideline of how do we recalibrate, how do we align, how do we balance this. And so whenever Alistair was getting in his deep dives of like the theory and the philosophy, he always brought it back to the energy centers. Do you want to speak to those and how they relate to the brands?
Yeah, there's different models for viewing who we are as humans and the planet, for example. And a really simple one that resonates with me is viewing things as energy, and everything is energy. And so there are 7 main energy centers in the body, otherwise known as chakras. They each help you, like if you harness each of the energy centers' energy, then they're kind of the building blocks to you having the optimum life and well-being. And so each of our, I won't go deep into what they are, I think that's for another time, but essentially we've arranged our brands around each of them so that it's grounded in energy basically, and grounded in theory that is just truth. And there are more theories that are tied in that go in are more complex, but the basic one is, yeah, the energy centers and chakras.
Which are seven. There's seven of them.
7 main ones in the body, and the 7 main ones that we resonate with in our brands.
Yeah, and starting at the base of the spine, the root chakra being foundation and security, and what I like to think of as that more earthly groundedness, and then all the way up through our body to the crown chakra, which is that more spiritual, etheric vision, connection to spirit, and then all the ones in between.
And so maybe we just start going through our brands related to each of them.
The thing I wanted to add too was like, as somebody who works with people that are starting their businesses, a huge issue that I saw was people having so many different visions for life and having to niche down or having to silo themselves and only pick one. And it was one, old traditional models making you to think that. And then also like the belief that you can't have it all can also be a play. And then that the only people that can have multiple businesses are the big guys. And it's like, how are empires for good? Because we can create these empires, we can structure our businesses to have multiple brands under them like the big guys, but they're doing it's for good. Because if we don't believe that, then it's just things are going to continue to perpetuate. And I really want to root for the small guys going big or going home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the root chakra.
We're still deciding on the name, but the name at the moment is Earthed Co. And that brand helps you basically bring your vision and your purpose into reality on the physical plane. So you might have a really idea of what you want to do, like what business you want to build or what life you want to live. This anchors it in the physical, this brand. And so in there's all the tools and techniques to help you do that. Things like money management, but then also things like aligning with the universal cycle. So how do we merge these things to create an effective way of life
Yeah,
that's sustainable
yeah.
and secure?
Earthco's the working title, but we will be rebranding. And then we have some polished, active businesses and brands that we merged into Lumisol as well. For this Sacral Energy Center,
Harmonic flight.
You may have seen us. We went on, a year-long journey traveling as digital nomads, and we created a profile called Harmonic Flight and a brand called Harmonic Flight that's going to be showcasing more of our digital nomad journey, the things we learned along the way. How do you create a sustainable business while on the road? How do you maintain a successful relationship and a thriving relationship while on the road with extra responsibilities?
Well, basically, how do you break free and live a different way of life that's most suited to you from the standard corporate or like societal norms of buying a house, having kids, one partner, stay in one place, work a job for life?
Yeah.
I mean, even that's changing now. But yeah, in that brand, we help you break free and live the life you want, but start creating that understanding of what you want as well.
Yeah, definitely. Alister's so high level, and I get into like the nitty gritty. So we love the balance.
Yeah, and we will be working with partners that help people do things differently or that provide products that help people question the status quo.
Yeah. And I had this huge epiphany. I was looking down at my ring finger, and I was like, I want to put my ring on that one, but oh, then people will think I'm married. People can look at digital nomad and be like, oh, gypsies, oh, they're so out of touch with life. They don't know what, like, they're just floating around, traveling the world, lucky them, no, but not for me. The thing that I want to say about it is that I can crave traditional containers, but want nothing traditional about my version of that in that container. And that was the epiphany I had about the ring finger. I'm like, oh, yeah. And so now I have a ring that I got from the universe, and it's my commitment to living out, my universal purpose and path, but and being committed to myself and that path. Share, because you can break free, but then still want traditional things. And then how do we go about doing that is what Harmonic Flight's all about. Yeah.
Oh, the dogs have come to say hi.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
so Quest for Meaning, that is very much a brand that helps people find their purpose and meaning in life, their power and purpose, and go forth and live it out. So things like finding their values, finding their purpose, creating healthier habits, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been doing for a while, helping people find their purpose and leave their jobs.
Yes. Heart chakra.
Which one's heart chakra, right?
I'm trying to look it up.
Well, it depends which model you're looking at. Heart chakra is, the working name is Rise Collective.
Mm-hmm.
So Rise Collective is basically new age leadership. So redefining what leadership looks like, which is predominantly acting from the heart, but really merging both the mind and the heart into coherence, and so leading in a different way that's fit for a new age that's not grounded in hate or divide, but more in unity.
Yeah.
And again, Rise Collective is the working title, but that's something it's definitely something that's going to become more and more prominent as we bring more and more leaders together as well. And we do anticipate working with companies, running workshops and stuff about this.
Yeah. And leading from the heart is something that's always been really close to our hearts as well. And I think that, especially if you think about the traditional corporate environment, it's all about profit, not the people or the environment. And that is changing. We see that changing. But how do we change the leadership styles? There's certain leadership styles to accommodate the changes that are going to be happening, because there's a whole new age of business. It's been building for a few years, and how do we match that with the leadership? And how do we match that with leadership? Throat chakra.
You can talk about this. Are you going to talk about the new name?
Yes, so Unkempt Co., traditionally, previously known as Kempt Co., this has been with me for about 10 years now, or yeah, 10 years. It focused on branding and business consulting. And we have, over the years together, really looked at what it could be and how we could service our community and how we can service the people that we really want to see succeed. And speaking to so many entrepreneurs and business owners, it all really comes down to expression. Chemco being focused on expression, and that previously could look like branding, marketing, web design, but from a intrinsic point of view, or like a skill from as an entrepreneur and as a leader, it comes down to your expression and how open are you to express and how freely are you to express.
How unkempt are you expression?
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yeah, so how unkempt are you? There's been such a need still on looking so polished, looking so professional, and it is true. People will trust you more if you have a more polished professional brand. But does that mean that your personality, your essence needs to be diluted by that or look like the exact same person in your industry? Absolutely not. And so we're on a mission to help those entrepreneurs share their essence, share their expression, openly express for themselves as well, not us just doing all the work, so that they can stand out within their industry and feel excited and passionate about sharing their purpose in their business and how they're helping others.
And it's not just about entrepreneurs. So I've been on a lifelong journey of using my voice, and yeah, a big part of this brand and Chemco is helping people find and use their voice, no matter how unkempt it is. And so I expect things like just getting in touch with your creativity to actually learning how to express, like working out what you want to express, what is your voice, like removing the noise, and different ways to do that, whether that's on a stage, at work, in your business, in your brand, beyond, or as a leader. But basically, Chemco, I think, is expanding beyond branding and business to a wider audience and helping people really, on utilizing their throat energy center.
Lovely. So we have a couple more that we want to share, and then we will also be sharing some things that haven't gone right or have.
So the next one is Lunar Nocti. So it's a third eye. So it's very much around seeing the unseen, mainly around syncing your energy and your energy with the universe's energy. And so everything in there around understanding like the moon cycles, like how planets affect the week and the days, all the way through to astrology. And it's actually a lot simpler than you might think. And so we're aiming at helping people on that journey. And an obvious one that I probably skipped over there is women on their menstrual cycles, how that ties in. And it's not just women that have those cycles, it's also men. But there's that extra nuance of the menstrual cycle for women. And so really helping people harness those cycles for how they live and recognizing like how the 9 to 5 doesn't enable you to do that.
Yeah.
And you might be working 11 hours one day at a laptop, the next day you might be doing nothing. And that's not because you're burnt out, it's just because different phases of the cycle.
Right. And then also, how do you integrate that into your day-to-day life if you're still working a 9 to 5? Yeah, we understand that that needs to be honored as well. And so, again, back to that balance of how do we take this universal knowledge of where it's very, very close to us, and how the moon works and how the stars align and all of those things, how do we bring that into the earthly plane, into the physical? And for the most success and least resistance of our financial success, business success, our relationships, our our health and our all the things.
Well said. And the crown one, I guess.
The crown one is me, rise and thrive. Yeah, this one's really close to my heart because for me, I've always had a spiritual view on life and I've always been connected to spirit, and it was a very like independent individual thing. Like people are like, "Oh, like do you know this teacher and that teacher?" And I was like, "No, like my connection with spirit was very like me and spirit, me and the universe since I was really young." And so I had visions of what my dreams were going to be. I had visions of what I wanted in life, and I know many people have. And then throughout life, it was like, what are you going to do for your career? Through not following that, I'll just share a little bit of a story of like origin story. But through that, not following it became physical pain, became mental pain, crutching on lots of different things. And so Rise with Thrive is all about connection to your dream life and living that out and recalibrating your energy so that you can live out your dream and live out your purpose, and rewiring your brain to conquer those limiting beliefs so that you can move forward and achieve that, bring in and call in that dream life that you want. And that was always a part of you. Like it's not something that it's like a pipe dream. It was always a part of you. It's on your heart for a reason. So that wraps up the brands. You will hear more about all of them, but why are we sharing the brands with you? We are reinventing what the community hub looks like so that we can support other people in a multitude of ways. You got on the wait list, you get our email, and we're like, the community hub is open. We are ready for you. What does that look like? Well, Alister has created an amazing assessment that will help you not only know which area that to focus on, but you're clear on your next step in what energy center to focus on as a whole.
Yeah, so where are you on your journey right now, your life journey, your growth journey, and which of our brands best support you, but also which area of our community are you most likely to find what you need right now?
And the people that you need, people that you will resonate with.
And we're going to go more into the depths of the community probably in a few minutes, but we'll talk about that.
And so then the community hub, we have community chats, we have resources like ebooks, e-learning, courses. We also have coaching, and group coaching would be introduced at a later time.
Let's talk about that later. You want to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly?
For part 2.
Part 2. Or part 3.